right, welcome back, everyone, for another episode of the Wednesday Watch List. This is my weekly look ahead at all the books coming out this new comic book Wednesday, September 18th, 2024. So this is going to be my rundown of all the incentive variants that might be selling at a premium already, some other variants that might be released, things I'm looking forward to read, cool covers, and things you just need to keep an eye on when you go to your shop on New Comic Book Day this week. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure that you like, you subscribe, you hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And if you happen to be going to Baltimore Comic-Con later this week, make sure you stop by and check out our table, as me and a few of the boys are going to be there with a little setup there in the over in Artist Alley. So look for table H28. Back near the where the media guests are, and come say hello if you're going to be in Baltimore this weekend. Now, also, while we're talking about other things, let's talk about my other channel, Toy Informer. This is my channel where I'm talking about all those other collectibles outside of comics. We're talking toys, sneakers, collectible non-sports cards, other weird little niche items that just don't kind of fit the normal comic marketplace. So it's my fun little side project. Go and check it out. I've got new shows dropping over there every week, with a couple of usually every week, including my top 10 toys. I just did the Marvel Universe Series 1 Impel cards, giving basically like a top 10 and a rundown on that whole set as well, showing you my set from my actual binder, and a lot of other fun stuff over on that channel. So make sure you go and check it out if you're interested in that kind of thing. Also, for all of you people who haven't tried Whatnot yet, first-time users, use my link below and get yourself a free $15 to spend on whatever you want with whomever you want. No strings attached. First-time users, you get $15 just to try it out. Just try it out and you get free $15. That's all you got to do. No strings attached, no further, requirements or anything like that. Just give it a try and see what you think. And if you need supplies, use my code RENA10 and get 10% off your BCW orders over at BCW. Also, the link's down below. You get yourself, 10% off all of your bags and boards, any boxes you might need, and all the other weird collectible hobby things, whether you also collect cards, top loaders, things like that. Anything you need from BCW, get a discount by using my code right there. Now that that's all out of the way, if you want to see this week's books and my rundown of everything you need to be paying attention to this week, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, well, let's just dive right in with my personal picks. Every week, I tell you about all the things I'm looking forward to most right off the bat. And being biased as I am, we always start, it seems, with a Skybound book from the Energon side of the universe. I don't know what to tell you. I love this stuff. It hits me in the nostalgia feels. I like the new stuff that they're doing. So I'm looking forward to Destro #4 coming out this week. A couple of covers here. This is the cover A. There's also an open order B cover here. If you want to get this MJF looking style Destro here on the B cover, you can get that one. Or you can grab any one of the incentives that come with these releases. We've got 1 in 10s, 1 in 25s, and a 1 in 50. I really dig that 1 in 50. It's got like a Metal Gear kind of vibe to it, like that manga style. I really like it. I don't know. There's something about it. It's a 1 in 50, so it's a little bit pricey. Granted, it's still under ratio for the most part, but it's still a new release, and I generally don't like spending a lot of extra money on an incentive just because I like the pretty picture on the front of it. I just don't see any long-term need for this book. There's no first appearances that I'm aware of or anything like that. So outside of it just being something that I think is cool looking, I personally don't know if I can go shell out even the $40 that I might be able to grab one of these 1 in 50s for. So with that said, check out the 1 in 10s. More affordable, obviously, but also they have a cool theme with the connecting cover set. So we'll show you the 4 that connect so far. We've got the 1 in 10s for issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now you got both Tomax and Zaymot finishing this out with Cobra Commander there in the back middle. And we've got one more to complete this mural style 1 in 10 set. Again, this is something that Skybound's done with all the Energon books, from Scarlet to the Cobra Commander series to the Transformers, even Void Rivals. Every story arc seems to be getting the 1 in 10s that form like a long connecting cover set. So it's kind of fun. Just kind of fun. All right. Still on the image side of things, we're getting the next installment of Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. I know not a lot of people are talking about this anymore. The first issue or two was kind of hot coming out of the gate, including the incentives, but don't forget about this because as orders might be dwindling a little bit, some of these covers are really awesome and could be very, very tough to find. This is issue 4, has one cover here, and it has one incentive, which is a 1 in 15 with an awesome, awesome cover. It's just look at that. Look at that look in her eyes. She's holding that bloody blade. I dig this cover a lot. It's probably my favorite cover of the week, but it could be tricky to secure one because, again, not a lot of shops are going to be ordering even 15 copies of this series at this point. And looking online, I didn't notice any pre-sales as of yet, but there is one listed out of the UK that's looking for 40 bucks. So for 1 in 15, that's a decent premium to have to pay to get one of these. So something to keep an eye on. In case you can pick one up at your shop, it may be worth your time and effort to do so. Also coming out this week, I feel like this series was delayed a week or two. This is Daniel Warren Johnson's The Moon is Following Us. So he's got a new series coming. I know a lot of folks are excited, including myself, to check this out for some more, Daniel Warren Johnson goodness. He completely has me on board with the restart he gave to the Transformer side of things and on the Energon universe. So I'm willing to check this out. I've got one on the way. We've got a cover A, we've got cover B's and C's and blanks that you can get here as well, including some incentives, which have a 1 in 25. There is a black and white 1 in 50 on the one cover, and then there is a spot foil version of that cover A that is the 1 in 100 if you are interested in going for those high ratio books. Now, there are some early pre-sales already on the 1 in 100 that are pretty pricey. Yes, one was right at ratio. That was the last one on September 1st or September 9th. But you look at September 12th and one back in August, which is actually a 9.8 pre-sale, which I think is kind of weird. But still, 160, 100 bucks, some pre-sales. Asking prices right now are looking for right around 160. And then that 9.8 pre-sale is also still up there, looking for 250. So they probably got a couple of those being submitted. So if that's your thing too, that you want to prepay for a guaranteed 9.8. I mean, I put air quotes on that because whoever's submitting this, if they don't get a 9.8, they're not going to be able to fulfill your order. So that's why I put the quotes. They'd have to refund you your money saying, well, we didn't get the 9.8. What do you want me to do? But pretty good chance of the brand new book, especially with the spot foil. I got to imagine there's not going to be a lot of damages on this. But hey, you never know. You never know. But with that said, that's the early stuff that's on my list to grab. Those are my early picks for this week. But also on top of that, we do have my reading list, which is also very short this week. I mean, almost thankfully. So maybe I can play a little bit of catch up here on some other books. But as of right now, I think the only book that's on my reading pile that's not one of the ones I just talked about is the current issue of X-Men. So X-Men 4, because I'm an X-Men fan, is going to be right there at the top of my reading list. And we got Juggernaut here, front and center on this cover A. There is a cover B that has J. Scott Campbell giving us a decent Emma Frost. It's not the most engaging cover in the world. It's just kind of there. Also, I'm not really into these weird poses where they're kind of with the large X-Men sign. Like they're all put, like Rogue was sitting on it before. Like it just seems kind of weird. It's almost like a 90s music video, like where it's just like, Step by Step by Bobby Brown. And then like the words are just there and they're dancing around them. Just seems kind of weird. But outside of some things that might fit into other categories we get to later on, the incentives here for this book are a 1 in 25 with a huge helmeted Juggernaut that just looks awkwardly proportioned, and a 1 in 100 virgin version of that J. Scott Campbell. I put that in air quotes because you still have that weird big X that she's standing next to, but you don't get the regular X-Men trade dress. I don't know. That said, it is still a Campbell cover, and it's still an Emma Frost Campbell cover, and there's still going to be fans and collectors who will get it for that reason alone. So I am not surprised to see early pre-sales in the $130 to $140 range, nor am I surprised to see asking prices that go anywhere from $135 to $150 all the way up to $200 for this 1 in 100 variant. Now, will that price maintain? Will those prices be met? That remains to be seen. But that's what's out there right now, which is why we have it on the watch list to see what happens over the next few days and what happens upon release once copies actually hit people's hands, what the market decides to do. Now, that's my only reading book for this week. but I do have others that fit in my just gotta do it category. As I've mentioned before, these are things that I'm actually a little behind on my reading, so I still got to keep picking them up so I can catch up at some point. Some things that I might not even enjoy the current storylines, but out of pure habit and compulsion will have to continue my Amazing Spider-Man run, etc. These are things like that. So this is my just got to do it section. So there's just books I'm still just going to have to get. First one, I'm just a little behind reading. Be honest, I'm happy it's a light reading week, so I can catch up on this, but I am like a couple issues behind on John Constantine, Hellblazer, Dead in America. It started off great. I was into it, and then I just kind of fell off because just time constraints. And then once you fall one issue behind, it's easy to fall 2 and 3 issues behind because it's like, well, I don't want to read this one until I read the last one and before that. And then you find yourself in a spiral of you'll get to it eventually. And that's where I find myself with this series. I am a big Constantine fan. I like this series, in itself too. So I'm looking forward to catching up on it. It's just I need to catch up on it. That's all. There is a cover A out of this Black Label series, and there is a B cover as well, which has a pretty awesome Sting cover, basically. I mean, that's who he was based off of. If you remember the old stories, like Constantine, his look is based off of Sting. So it's fun to see when an artist actually draws him that way to actually resemble Sting. And you could see it when you look here. I was going to grab a picture to kind of show you, but if you don't know who Sting is, I don't know if I can help you. So just Google it. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Also moving from the Buzz section to the Just Gotta Do It's are the Larry Hama G.I. Joes. I'm just a little behind. I just fell a little behind on this, so I just got like a couple issues to catch up on, so I had to move it to this section. I don't want to pretend like I'm up to date and put it on my reading list when I'm behind reading it. You guys know, I'll be honest with you. I'm behind. So G.I. Joe 310, new issue. We got the newer Cobra Commander look, fighting Zartan there on the cover. You got a black and white version of that as well as the B cover. And then there is a 1 in 10 incentive that has Timber and Snake Eyes on it, which is actually kind of cool. But pick up whichever one you like. Nothing doing on the incentive. You can generally find that anywhere between $8 and $12 usually. The G.I. Joe 1 in 10s kind of hover right around there. So you can get it for a little less, maybe a little more, depending where you're buying from. Also, in the Just Gotta Do It section, I know I keep saying I'm on the fence about it, but I just keep reading them anyway. Ultimate X-Men 7. So Ultimate X-Men 7. I think we're starting a new arc here. So let's see where this goes from here. There's a cover A, Peach Momoko. There is another Peach Momoko here in the mix as well. There's a Mike Del Mundo. Then we got that weird connecting cover there as well, which is also the high ratio incentive. I don't know why we have a 1 in 100 incentive ratio on this book anymore, but we do. And the 1 in 25 is actually kind of nice. I kind of dig that. I don't know. I just kind of like it, but it's not doing anything, nor is the 1 in 100. You can find these for well under ratio if you are shopping for them. And if you want to see the connecting cover set, again, I missed that these were going to be connecting at the outset. And here we go. We've got 3 parts. Next week, we'll get the final 4th installment. But boom, it's going to make like one big larger cover. So Ultimate Spider-Man number 9. I think that's where we're at. We'll fill in that empty slot next week. So I'll finish it up and we'll take a look at it on Monday, hopefully. Hopefully I'm not running behind. I will admit, I will be at Baltimore, as I mentioned earlier in the show. I'll be at Baltimore Thursday through Sunday. So not going to have a lot of time to work on materials or prep and do a show, but I'm still going to do my best to get all the content out that you guys look forward to every week. So with that said, we'll just move on to another book that, yeah, I read the first issue. It was meh, but it's new X series. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and continue on with issue 2 here of X Factor. Again, just not thrilled or super excited about this series, but I'll keep giving it a go for a little while longer to see if it picks up or gains, gains some momentum with me. But here we go. Cover A. We got a couple other covers here, including a Frenzy, and then we got another team cover there with the new squad. There is a pretty cool Josh Swaby 1 in 25, as well as a 1 in 50 Virgin version of that Frenzy cover. Nothing really doing on these incentives either. You can find them under ratio thereabouts. I looked at the Sway, and there's copies listed for like $20. You might be able to sneak one for 15 here or there, or you can generally find it for the 25 that the ratio is. And for the newer collectors, I sometimes forget that not everybody has the same knowledge base. But when I say ratio prices, incentives are generally based off a ratio order. So stores have to order this many copies to be able to order one of this. So the one of 50, they have to order 50 copies of the open order X Factors to be able to qualify to order one of the 1 in 50. Same for the 1 in 25. So when I say ratio price, it would be priced at what the ratio is. So $50 for the 1 in 50, $25 for the 1 in 25. That's just like a starting baseline that the market has kind of used over the last number of years. So that's just kind of starting point. It's not a rule or anything like that. It's just a baseline starting point so you can judge whether you're getting a value or if you're paying a premium. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Again, it's just a baseline starting point. Nothing is set in stone. So you spend your money how you want to spend your money. I'm not going to spend your money for you. I'm not going to let you spend mine either. So with that said, let's move on to what is always our longest section of this show, and that is the new number ones. And this week is no exception, despite the fact that I thought we'd be slowing down. We got a bunch, even a bunch out of Marvel this week. So while some of the indies have eased back, Marvel is coming in strong with a few more number ones this week. Here we go. Starting off, over on the DC side of things, we're getting an Absolute Power Super Son. So, following the events of Absolute Power 1 and 2, John Kent, yada, yada, yada. I'm trying to keep up with this Absolute Power series, but again, I'm not thrilled with the concept. I've not been thrilled with the idea since I found out what it was going to be about. I'm slogging my way through it, but it's just not grabbing me, so I can't keep up with all these side issues either. But I'll try here and there, especially when we review them on TAC. But it's just a personal thing. I'm just not into this storyline with Amanda Waller. I've had enough Amanda Waller. That's all. With that, this is cover A. There are a few other covers here, including that one in the middle. It's a Lucio Perillo, but tell me his face doesn't look like Austin. I can't think of his name. The actor who played Elvis, who was nominated for playing Elvis. He was the bad guy in Dune 2. Austin Butler. That's his name. Tell me that doesn't look like Austin Butler. I just watched The Bike Riders a couple weeks ago, and he was in it, but it just looks like Austin Butler as Superboy. And then there's this weird blue foil logo cover option here as well. So get that if you like. Moving on, also out of DC. DC loves these video game tie-ins. So it's not a Fortnite book this time, but it is a Multiverses Collision Detected. So a Multiverses is their free-to-play fighter game, I believe. I think it's free to play, and then you got to pay for all of the downloads and extra characters, etc. But there it is, and we're getting a comic book out of it. So if you want to see your Looney Tunes and your Adventure Time characters and Tom and Jerry, Scooby-Doo mixed up with your Batmans and Supermans, this is a comic for you. There are a couple other versions here. We got B, C's, and D's, open orders across the board here. Oh, that one fits in on the Batman. I didn't realize that. The one in the middle, I probably should have put into the Batman 85th. I didn't notice the 85th logo on there as, I guess, the video game version of Batman. I'm not sure what cover that is. I'll have to fill that in and catch that up another time. But generally, the Batman 85ths have been homages to prior covers. I'll have to figure that one out. I just missed it. I didn't realize that was an 85th anniversary cover. But we do have incentives for this Multiverses book as well. There's a 1 in 25 and a 1 in 50. So maybe we'll see some orders for that. Right now, no pre-sales, but there is one listed looking for a little above the 1 in 50, looking for $65. This could be a tricky one. I don't know a lot of places that'll be ordering 50 copies of this, but if they do, I don't know, it could be a weird collectible down the line. And you remember what happened with the Marvel, the Marvel Disney stuff. Granted, those were special exclusives handed out at special events, but still, just the idea, people get excited about some of these mashups. So just be mindful of this. All right, moving off of DC, I'll go over to IDW, which basically only has Turtle books. Well, they actually have a couple. We still got Sonic, I guess. But Turtles, we get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Nation #1. So it appears, I didn't know they were doing this. I knew that we were getting a reboot, which we got. Jason Aaron restarting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with a new #1. We got 2 issues out of it so far. I didn't realize they were still going to continue that original universe in a sense. So it looks like they're doing that after the events of Armageddon game. This is going to kind of continue that tale a little bit after the 300 issues. Was it 300? I don't remember. You know what I'm talking about. The last turtle series before the reboot. This is it being picked up. It wasn't 300. It's less than that. But so it's picking up after Armageddon game. Or was that just a separate thing? It doesn't matter. I'm not a big Turtle fan, as you might notice. I can't keep up with all this stuff. It just was something that came out after my time. Like, I was more of a G.I. Joe, He-Man, quite kid. Turtle started coming in more at the late 80s as I started getting close to my teens, so didn't grab me in the same way. I saw the Turtle movies, like in the theater, but I didn't collect all the toys or have that same nostalgia that I do for G.I. Joe and, like I said, Transformers, etc. This is more like my little brother's thing. Turtles and Power Rangers I kind of put together as that late 80s, early 90s kind of a time frame for toys. But with that said, multiple covers here for this book. We've got a pretty cool Casey Jones there in the middle, a couple other options there as well if you're interested, and there is a 1 in 10 incentive too. I looked again, just like the GI Joes, it's like an 8 to 12 buck kind of thing, so maybe a little above, a little lower for your incentive there. Dark Horse, which normally has been having like half a dozen new releases or new number ones every week, has only got this one, I think. Maybe they have two. But we've got this one, the Masked Macher? Masked Mater? I don't know. Yiddish for big shot. I don't know. It looks like it's wrestling in the 1930s. So that's, scratching you where you itch. Go check this out for $5. But I don't know. I just don't think I have time for something like this personally. The Tin Can Society is starting over at Image. It's a miniseries premiere. I'm intrigued by this cover. It's pretty cool. You got all the pictures there. She's got the gun in hand. I don't know. I'm just kind of curious. I will admit I'm kind of curious. But you can read the whole synopsis if you want. I'm just going to say this looks kind of interesting just based off the cover alone. Cover A. There are a couple incentives here as well with a 1 in 10 and a 1 in 20. So if you want to go that route, you can. And now we get to Marvel, who I said has a few number ones this week. Starting off with Dazzler. Who wanted this? I don't know. I think everyone was expecting Taylor Swift to show up in the movie, and then that would catapult Dazzler into new heights, and then a new storyline, new number one, and a new ongoing series would be justified. But that didn't happen. That's not to say that it will never happen, and it can't still happen, but it hasn't happened yet. And with all of the new X-Men titles, this is pretty low ranking on my list of things that I wanted out of a new run of X books. Personally, just not a huge Dazzler fan. Sue me. But I can admit that's a pretty cool Terry Dodson cover. And we have a bunch of other covers here as well. I think it's is it Ashley Witter, I think, in the middle? Dig that one. That one's pretty cool. I don't like the blinds. The blinds is like a weird subset of variants. I'm just not into them. And then a blank is a blank if you want to get your sketches and remarks on there. Then we've got Derek Chu there in the middle. We've got a foil by, I think, Carrie Andrews. And then we've got the weird logo variants, which, again, I don't like them. It's just a waste of paper. But get them if you like it. Again, it's in nice empty spots for signatures and such, but I just don't like it. I don't know. It just seems like a waste. Buy comics because it's story and art, and you're not putting any art there when you could have. You're intentionally not putting art for some reason. With that said, as you might guess, right there in the middle, 1 in 100 is the incentive. There is also a 1 in 25. If you're so inclined, just kind of meh. And even the 1 in 100, it's all right. It's not the greatest. I think I kind of like the Witter better. But it is what it is. One pre-sale on the 1 in 100 so far, and it was only for $86. It was under ratio, but still got to watch it because the asking prices are a bit higher. Yes, there's one asking under $90, but then there's one for $150, one for $190. So again, doesn't mean this is going to go over ratio. Just watching it to see what happens. That's why it's on the watch list. These are all pre-sales. Don't put all your stock into pre-sales because you could be fooled. Many have been fooled by looking at pre-sale prices. Like, oh man, look how much this is selling for. Pre-sales, they're an indicator, but not the only indicator, and they're not 100%. So we're looking at it, but it's still something we're going to have to watch and monitor well beyond these early pre-sales and even beyond Wednesday. Let's see what happens. But with that said, we're also getting a new number one out of Deathlock. Well, it's not technically a new number one. This is more of an anniversary for the 50th anniversary of Deathlock. So it's more of like a one-shot special. But it is a special for Deathlock with a cover A. There is a pretty cool homage that calls back the first appearance of Deathlock there, as you can see. Nick Bradshaw did that homage cover, I believe. Pretty well done. I dig it. I like it. I like it when the trade dress also kind of matches. But yeah, pretty cool there. And then we have a Frank Miller cover here as well. It is just a close-up on Deathlock's face. And I'll say it's not terrible. This kind of fits what Frank could still be doing. It is definitely a Frank Miller. You can see it. You can see it in the style. It kind of fits the character, and it ain't bad. Granted, I'm not a huge fan of just a big face either, but it's better than all the pooping covers that we got last months ago with all the squatting character. Like, I'll take this over that. And then Cohen over on the side with that other cover there. And then there is an incentive. It is a 1 of 50, which is a version of that Frank Miller cover, which has no pre-sales as of yet, but asking prices are looking for $130. So just something to watch. Again, these weird one-shots and specials, there may not be too many of these. That doesn't mean they're going to be expensive or sought after. It's just one bullet point in the story of this book that there may not be that many. There still needs to be demand. If there was something special that happened in the book would help it, first appearances, etc. There's a lot of factors that go into what make books expensive. So let's not pretend that the formula is always the same. It's just, this is one indicator. Let's watch and see what happens. With that said, still got more. Spider-Boy, annual number 1. Yes, continuing that Infinity Watch saga. This is part 8. I thought this thing was done at part 6, but now we've got part 8. I could care less. I've been bored by this crossover of new Infinity Stone carriers. I don't like these new characters. Just not interested. I wish they would just scrap this and just move on. But we're apparently slogging on. I thought we'd be done. There's the cover A. There is a B cover with Spider-Boy eating a hot dog. And then there is what used to be called the connecting covers. But they're just a weird collection of group shots that don't all group together. So, yeah. I feel like they could have. I feel like it wouldn't have been that hard to put them together. But they didn't. Well, whatever. Not done yet. Marvel still has more new books for us, new number 1s. We have a new number 1 out of Spirits of Vengeance. I believe this is a mini. Probably going to lead to some form of new ongoing. Because here we go. Johnny Blaze, Danny Ketch, Robbie Reyes, The Hood, Kushala, if I'm saying her name right. Many have borne the Spirit of Vengeance. So it's going to, talk about all of the different mantle holders of the Spirit of Vengeance. And then eventually we'll see what shakes out. Issue 1 here. I want to say it's Inhyuk Lee. I'm not 100%. There is a pretty cool E.M. Gist. And then there's a Derek Chu there in the center. And another awesome Scotty Young. Even though I generally lean towards the the scene Scotty Young covers where there's like word bubbles and something playing out. This is kind of fun. He's got the bike and he's doing like a trick. Flames. Pretty awesome. I like honestly, all 4 of these covers are solid. And then we have a couple of incentive covers here with a 1 in 25, which is meh. And then 1 in 100 is a virgin version of that Kushala cover by Derek Chu. Nothing doing as far as pre-sale prices on these. They're under ratio for the most part. So keep an eye on it. But right now, nothing to get overly ambitious about. Not done. Venom War. I know I've complained too many Venom books, too many Venom stories. It's just, he's not my favorite. I was around when he came out in the 90s. He was always like one note kind of villain, which was cool for the time. And then I didn't really care when they tried to make him a hero / anti-hero. It's just never been my favorite character. That's all. But I really don't need all these events all stacking on top of each other. Again, we've got Venom War going on at the same time as a Separation Anxiety miniseries, at the same time of another Edge of Venomverse thing, even though we had the death of Venomverse and the rebirth, and you're just wearing me out. Marvel's just wearing me out with this. But now we have a Deadpool #1 because, hey, let's just take this Venom War event and just market other books that feature our other popular characters. We had Spider-Man, we got Wolverine. Hey, let's throw Deadpool into the mix. So here we go. We get a Deadpool story in the midst of this Venom War. Cover A and a cover B option if you want to go and spend your $5-6 on this thing. All right. Moving on, Venom War Lethal Protectors also has a comic coming out here with a new #1. $4 for Silver Sable and the Symbiote Squad. So all of those forgotten symbiotes from the original Lethal Protector miniseries, apparently they're back with Silver Sable of all people. So cool. A cover and a B that's pretty nice. I actually kind of like this. I like her kind of like sort of a reflection, sort of just coming out of the eye of a symbiote. I don't know. Just kind of dig it. It's a cool look to it. All right. That's it for Marvel, thankfully. That's what, half a dozen new #1s? Whew. We got more, though. Mad Cave is giving us the Body Trade. So, Kim Krillick is a divorced ex-con who's trying to atone. I don't know. New Mad Cave book coming out. I'm probably not going to be getting into this. Again, there's too many books these days. So I'm putting it in here just to show it to you. Give it a shot if you want. But $5, I just can't right now. A, B cover. Grab the one that you like if you want to give this a shot. Fans of R.L. Stine, the Goosebumps writer, we've got this Graveyard Club book. New #1 out of Boom. Cool. It's issue 1 out of only 2, so it's only going to be a 2-issue mini, I believe. And it comes with a nice, hefty 96-page count and a $9.99 cover price. So it's not going to be a cheap pickup. Gravesend, going to be in that similar range. Again, Goosebumps. So you know what you're going to kind of get out of there. Kids, horror, not too bad. Cover A. There is an unlockable cover here because it's Boom. Boom's doing these weird unlockables of late where certain order you unlock this cover. Early pre-sales, $15 to $25. Current asking prices, $15 to $30. We'll see. Some of these unlockables hit. Some of them get forgotten about. We'll see what happens with this one. Remember, even at that $15 price, this is starting at $10 already. So the regular one is already $10. So that 15 isn't really that much on top of it. Now, other covers beyond the unlockable, you've got B's, C's, and the Slaughter cover. So if you want your Erica Slaughter cover, that Boom's been doing almost like Image did all those Spawn covers back in the day. It's their most popular character. They're throwing it on covers of all their other series as a variant option. So yeah, get that one if you like it too. And then there are Virgin versions for some of the others as the incentives with a 1 in 5, a 1 in 10, and then a Virgin 1 in 20 Jenny Frizen, which is not another cover and is one that is seeing a little bit of interest starting out of the gate. So a 1 in 20 on this $10 book, early pre-sales, $55 to $60. It is Jenny Frizen. There are a lot of Jenny Frizen collectors out there. There's only one listed right now, and they want $100 for this thing. So definitely one to keep an eye on. Just because those are the pre-sales, the early sales, that's only 2. So it doesn't mean that if you go to your shop and they have this, and you want to pick it up and they have it for like $20 or something, sure, take a shot if you want, but don't guarantee that it's going to be $50 to $100 going forward. It's a chance you got to take. And that's why we have it on the watch list to see what happens. But who knows? There's not enough data here to really, see a trend yet. It's too early, but it's enough to want to watch it to see what happens. With that said, Boom was also giving us Jim Henson's Labyrinth. So we're getting ahead of their 40th anniversary of the Labyrinth movie, which came out in '85. We're getting a graphic adaptation of the novelization. So yeah, I thought we already had that, but I guess we're getting a new one. That said, $5, so it's not that bad. Oh, it's because they're going to visualize the whole story, the entire story for the first time. So I guess the movie The movie adaptation is still cherry picking from the movie. This is going back to the original source material. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Cover A. Also, it being Boom, there is an unlockable, which is a version of the cover A. One early pre-sale of $10. Granted, this is a $5 book, so that's double cover. Asking prices on the other unlockables, 10 to 25. One has it up for $50. We'll see. Labyrinth has its fans. There is a cult following there. It's not a huge following, but there is a following. Something to keep an eye on. There is a B cover here. I think it's Elizabeth Torque. I want to say there's a Torque cover. Pretty cool. I like the style. And there are incentives with a 1 in 10 version, a 1 in 25 version, and then there's a David Mack, all Bowied out 1 in 50. Cool. I've tried to look for incentives, early incentive sales on these. Nothing yet, so these could be tricky. These could be tricky. Something to keep an eye on, despite there not being any listed or any pre-sales that I could find when I did this today, doing this Monday afternoon. So with that said, let's move on to our next book, which is at a keen spot, which is Mark Spears' Monsters. So I'm getting a straight out of Compton vibe out of this cover A. And the reason why I say that is because there are a lot of homages coming. So just be ready. We're getting a lot of homages that I'm going to run through in a second. But first, Mark Spears is bringing us the old school Universal Monsters because they're technically public domain now. So, we're getting them. These feel like the Monster Squad type of versions of them, which is also kind of fun. Other covers available. We have awesome Bride there in the middle, Dracula there, another group shot over on the side. I dig these. They're all pretty well done. The one in the center is probably my favorite. But then we have the homages. So buckle up. These are all books we've seen before, if not as recently as last week. Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah, I think we just had Venom War last week doing this. Or Venom Separation Anxiety. Some Venom book did this last week. So here we go. Now Monsters are doing it. Cool. We've seen this a number of times. Hulk 340, but with a cross and Dracula. Again, don't get me wrong. These are fun. I'm just getting tired of some of these homages because we just see them so often. That's all. But it's different, I guess. We got a Spider-Man 1. You want to get again, nothing unfamiliar. These are very familiar covers. So, yeah, you got that one. And then, again, we just had one of these. X-Men 141. Cool. Pick them up. Some of these are more than cover price. I forget because Keen Spot doesn't. I think they also do like the weird premium cost on some of these books. Whatever. Take a look. Get the ones you like if you find it for a price that you like. But otherwise, I just wanted to show them because I thought they were still kind of cool. I'm just tired of some of the homages. That's all. I just wish there was more time in between because we literally just did some of these homages last week, and they're the same books being done again. It's just tiresome. That's all. And I think my last number one for this week is Valiant. So Valiant Resurgence. I thought we already had this. I thought all these new number ones were the Resurgence. I get this is another. I don't know if this is a new restart or if it's just hey they want to do an event with all their Valiant titles. I guess it's just to do their event. This is I guess like kind of their Unity. But here we go. Resurgence, $5, new number one. You got a couple covers here. It's cover A. You got sketch cover. You got B's and C's. We've got some different versions of the B's and C's are also open order. And then we have some incentives too that are some reused art. I think the 1 in 25 and the 1 in 50s are wraparounds of each other. One's black and white, one's full color. And then the 1 in 40 is a black and white version of the cover A. Just a lot of variants, a lot of Valiant. If you're interested, pick them up. But I don't know. That said, later prints. Later prints, what do we got for you this week? We have some facsimiles, starting off with Crisis. So we have issue 6 of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I feel like DC's fallen behind Marvel redoing Secret Wars. But here we go. There is a regular cover facsimile. There is a sketch cover version. I couldn't even find a picture of what the sketch would be, except it'll have the trade dress and then a blank. Maybe it'll be a different color. Couldn't find a picture of it, so don't know what color it is. But there is also a foil version of this facsimile as well if you want a shiny version. We also have a facsimile of the Amazing Spider-Man 260 because they're doing all of the first 12, I guess, issues of Black Suit Spidey in Amazing to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the symbiote Black Suit, whatever. I don't know. I'm getting tired of these facsimiles, but here's the next one, issue 260. And there is a 1 in 25 incentive, which is a redone version by Scan. Not bad. I mean, it's all right, but I don't know. I just don't need. I've already been over this. I've already been over this, but early pre-sales on the 1 in 25 facsimile, 30, 40, best offer on $70. There's one listed looking for $90. We'll see. Much like many of the others, I don't expect a lot of volume. I don't expect a lot of traction. Yes, we see these early pre-sales. I'd be surprised if we see any sell after Wednesday hits. And if we do, it'll be like 1 or 2 copies. So we'll see what happens. But that's generally been the modus operandi of these facsimile ASM books. Just is what it is. All right, Image is giving us a second print for Cowl 1964 #1. This is part of the Massive Verse, which I think is what, Radiant Black and all that stuff. Again, that's a series and title I still want to catch up on. I've heard it's good. It's just a corner of the universe I just haven't been able to dip my toe in yet. Want to, but I'm just behind. But Cowl is coming with a second print to go along with, I think, issue 2. It came out recently or is coming out this week. So that's usually why Image does these second prints, to kind of help people catch up and be ready to continue the story or check it out and get both parts of the story very easily. For whatever reason, we're getting yet another printing of Transformers #1. This is the 8th printing. Yes, the 8th printing. Thankfully, only one cover, because we've seen multiple covers on some of the prior later printings for Transformers. As well as our next one, which, I'm sorry, I just got to shake my head. Void Rivals #1 has a 10th printing. 10 printings. Not only are there 10 printings of Void Rivals #1, they're releasing the 10th print with, count them, 10 covers. Why? You are just really trying to get $40 out of completionists, to get somebody out there who says, I've got to have them all, buy all 10 copies and 10 versions of the 10th printing of a book they've already purchased more than 10 times at this point. Because if you're going to buy the 10th printing, you've probably bought the 9th, the 8th, the 7th, the 6th, the 5th, the 4th, the 3rd, the 2nd, all the versions that went with them, as well as all of the variant covers on the regular first print. Think of that. How many times you've purchased the same book. It's ridiculous. 10 printing, 10 covers. But here they are. If you haven't read this series, give it a try. Read it. Pick the one that you like. Here's one. I don't even know what order they're in. Here's 3 more. Yeah, Jetfire's in the book. You should know that by now. Here's another 3 designs and familiar design covers that we've seen before with these later printings. And then here's, well, let's stretch it even further with another 3. We're going to take, yeah, I just got nothing left. 10 covers on a 10th printing. It's, I don't get it. I don't get it. I initially remember, like, Gen 13, even way back in the 90s, Gen 13, the second volume, I believe, did 13 covers on a new #1. That's, it's funnily enough, that seems okay to me, because it's the first printing. Hey, you're going to try to celebrate the event of a brand new #1. This is the 10th printing. Why do we need 10 different versions on the 10th printing? I don't know. With that said, second print for Ultimate Spider-Man #7, because, well, yeah, we're still churning these out too. I enjoy the series. I just feel like we're getting enough out of the first printings these days. I don't know why every copy is getting second prints, but hey, we're still doing it at issue 7. And then Venom War. Yep. Venom War #1. Cool cover. I think this was the foil cover. There's now it's not foil. And it's the second print cover for Venom War #1. And there is a 1 in 25 incentive for all you Venom horse collectors out there, because you saw it in the trailer and now you want to have this too. Yeah. Cool. Symbiote Brony. Awesome. And people are buying it. Early pre-sales, $75, $70. Asking prices, $85 raw, $200 for a 9.8 pre-sale. We'll see. We'll see. Avengers, the latest issue. No, well, I should say the last issue of Avengers, because issue 18 comes out this week. So issue 17, where Storm joins the team, gets a second printing. All right, I guess that was a big enough event. I still feel like there was plenty enough printed of the first print with multiple covers, etc. But okay, fine. Second print, and I guess another excuse to give us another 1 in 25 incentive, which is the Campbell Disco Dazzler Storm cover. Yeah, it is what it is. I said it last week. The Uncanny X-Men that put the new team on the front of the second print incentive, at least that kind of made sense to me why Marvel will be doing that. This is just a virgin version of a subset variant series. You're just trying to remilk more out of it. I don't know. But only one pre-sale on this Campbell cover so far, and it was best offer on $65, and then none listed right now. So we'll see what happens with it, but I don't know. It is what it is. At this point, you know what it is. All right, let's get into the weird stuff. All right, all the weird variant subset series for the month continuing on, starting off with Marvel doing their Godzilla variants. I've been liking most of these, half of these. Like, some have been hit and miss. Some felt like they just threw Godzilla in for no point. Others, it was a nice little scene with Godzilla and the book that he was on. Let's see what this week brings us. Starting off with The Avengers, issue 18. I told you, issue 18 was coming. The Avengers fighting Godzilla. Pretty cool. I like it. Dazzler #1 getting in here. And at least it's Godzilla and Dazzler interacting with each other, not just Dazzler standing in the front and Godzilla standing behind her. They're engaged. Cool. Deadpool. Right there, just lounging in Godzilla's hand. Yeah, feels a little bland, but it also fits kind of what Deadpool's vibe is. So it's okay, I guess. I would have thought a little bit more out of this Hulk versus Godzilla cover, because the perspective looks a little off to me. Like, the size of the hand and how far away Godzilla is, they don't quite match up, but it's not terrible. The Hulk looks pretty cool. I just don't think this fits right, especially scale. Like, we know the size of Godzilla. Well, I guess Godzilla's also had different scales throughout the years, so depending on which one we're talking about, sure. But still, the scale on this one of how close the hand is and how far away the body is and where's his feet and legs, like, it just seems more like Godzilla, hey, peeking in behind another Godzilla's hand. But whatever. And then we got an X-Men, which is actually kind of cool. Sam Neill cover. This feels like, hey, we'll just put Godzilla in the background and Cyclops in the front, but at the same time, I like them both doing like the same thing. They're both firing off at the same target. It still has a cool look to it, and with blended in with the flaming background, I actually kind of like this. This one I kind of like too. This is on X-Men 4. Now, Stormbreakers, which again, it took me a while to identify. They were doing all the different Ghost Riders with Spirit of Vengeance coming out this week, which is probably what triggered Marvel to do this as the Stormbreaker theme of the month. We have a few more. So we have the original Old Westy Ghost Rider on Avengers 18. Yeah, see another Avengers 18 cover. We've got I don't know, this Blaze. I'm assuming, looking at the bike, this is an older model looking bike. I'm guessing this is Johnny Blaze, not Danny Ketch, but it's kind of impossible to tell when they're both Ghost Rider because they look kind of similar. But I'm pretty sure this is the Johnny Blaze version on Deadpool #6. This is the issue going to lead us into issue 7, where Deadpool's replaced by his daughter. Then we have Robbie Reyes showing up on the Spirits of Vengeance book itself. So that's kind of cool. And then we have Kushala, if I'm saying her name right, on the X-Men book for this month. Cool. Marvel Studios. So the art of Marvel Studios, we're getting a couple more covers here to continue this subset of variants, which I don't think these are necessary, but we're getting them. We're getting a Vision here. This is on another Avengers 18 cover. So that's Avengers 18 3 times with other variant covers. And then we're getting Hulk here. So Hulk on Incredible Hulk 17. Okay. Vision on the Avengers book, Hulk on the Hulk book. At least these kind of fit and it makes sense of why these characters are being spotlighted. But I just don't know if these spotlights are necessary on the art of the Marvel universe. I don't know, but there are this week's 2. Next week, it looks like we're getting 3 more. And then thankfully, I think that'll be it. Let's hope. Now, moving over to DC, we have the 85 Years of Batman. Sorry I missed that one. I'm going to have to figure it out and fit it in here. Maybe I'll give you an update next week, but I'll definitely need it for when I do the next round of shorts. Spotlighting these ones, I got enough. But the one I could pinpoint, which appears to be another Michael Keaton Batman. Maybe it's just because they wanted to do the Jack Nicholson Joker, but Nicholson Joker and would have to be the Keaton Batman on World's Finest, number 31, doing a pretty obvious homage to Batman 251. So still pretty cool. But it is what it is. Grab it if you want it. But like I said, that's the only one because I missed the other one. But also speaking of only one, the Hispanic Heritage Month offering for this week is just one, and it is Jessica Cruz here on, again, World's Finest, number 31. That's the other thing. It's just when you're running so many themes for both companies, not criticizing one or the other, you're running so many theme variants every month, it's weird when you start just stacking them. So it's like, again, how many copies of the same comics are you trying to get people to buy? You know? It's like if you were collecting both of these cover sets, you both just bought 2 copies of World's Finest, you might not even be reading World's Finest. But you had to because you want to collect the Hispanic Heritage Month and the and the Batman 85th anniversaries. I don't know. It's kind of shitty. But it is what it is. All right, the Artist Spotlight, which DC has been doing kind of on an irregular basis. Like, it's not been monthly. But this month, we are getting Nicholas Scott doing these group shots of all the different looks for characters. And we've got a handful this week. Last week, I think we had one. This week, we got a few. We've got, again, World's Finest 31 with a third variant subset, Aquaman. So you want all your different looks of Aquaman, from his weird blue oceany suit to just the orange and green in multiple textures. There you go. If you want your Catwoman looks, get that on Catwoman 68. Pretty cool. If you want your Supermans, who, let's face it, they're all kind of similar. You give them a little bit of a different haircut here and there. Get Superman 18, and you got your Superman looks. And Wonder Woman on Wonder Woman. So, cool. If you're into that, pick these up. Now we're shifting the order up just a little bit this week, and we're going to get into the cheesecake covers following up on Wonder Woman. Because I probably should have started with her other books, but we're not. We're going to start with Catwoman, who was also in that spotlight, because there are some cheesecake Catwoman covers to talk about, starting off with the David Nakayama. So this is the end of Howard's run, and then we're getting, I forget who's taking over the writing duties with the next issue, but this is the end of her run, and we'll be seeing some different covers too. I think like Nakayama's run, I think, is also ending here. But this is a fun little goodbye on issue 68, as well as these other options aren't too bad. You got a Rose Besh with Harley, and I forget who did the other one, but pretty cool covers here, including some incentives. We have a 1 in 25 and a 1 in 50, which shows Selena just lounging there, completely out of costume. But yeah, fun stuff. You can find these for half ratio if you go and look. The 1 in 50 can be found for $25. The 1 in 25 can be found for $10 to $12 if you really look. So if you want them, you can get them. This one's kind of a stretch. There was only a couple covers on Jenny Sparks number 2, but something in her eyes drew me to this one, and I also kind of like the weird half tank look, so I threw Jetty Sparks 2 in here for this one because I don't know, kind of like the cover. Superman's making the list because we got a couple of Zatanna covers in the mix here, starting off with this option here, as well as this variant over here. So pick which one you like. Both are okay, not bad. Not must-haves, but not bad. Wonder Woman, as I mentioned, which was going to be our lead into this segment. We got regular Wonder Woman #1, and there's still a backup story featuring Trinity. As we all know, she's going to be getting her own ongoing. So continuing those backup stories. Issue 13, an Absolute Power tie-in. We're also getting covers here and here. Got to dig the art germ. I know it's kind of a familiar pose and like mid-shot, like, hey, we'll do waist up of everybody. That's kind of what Art Germ's been doing a lot lately. And they all have that same kind of lean. But they still look good. It's just kind of familiar. And this time it's a Cassie Sandsmark version of Wonder Girl, I guess. But yeah, a couple options there. And then there is a 1 in 25 with her and Damian. So pick that up if you're interested. Also, not selling for anything above ratio. So it's affordable if you want it. What else do we got here? Found a classic looking Black Widow in this Venom War Venomous #1 because, well, we still have the Red Widow version symbiote. I don't know what the hell they're calling her now, but the Black Widow as a symbiote. It's still happening. So yeah, we got this issue and this cover. Kind of cool. Moving on, we also have Fire and Ice issue 3. I believe is that a Dynamite? I think it's out of Dynamite. Yeah, Dynamite. So issue 3, we got a Linzer here, obviously. So you can pick that one up. There is another cover option here that's not too bad. And then there's also, Virgin versions. It's Dynamite, so there's other versions as well. It's just these were the two that kind of stood out to me, so I spotlighted those. I tried reading this series, the first issue, and it just was dull. So Chitara's got itself up to issue 3. Again, I think it's just so they can sell these covers. And here's one. It's so-so. The other two might be a little more interesting here. I think it's a Lyrics Lee, on the one side. So pick them up if you like them. But it's Dynamite doing a Chitara, I guess, mini spinoff for your Thundercats fans. And then for you Grimm Fairy Tale fans and you Zenoscope fans, we got another book here. We've got Holmes and Houdini, Curse of Moriarty #1. This is getting back to, I think these are just one-shots. It's new #1s, and we never see any more issues. But we got the 2, or actually 3 there on the one cover. Then we got some other options here. Pierre Luigi, I think, in the middle, and Ivan Tao on the side there. And then there is an incentive, which we will notify up the one in the middle as a 1 in 20. Again, if you can find them and you like these, you pay the premium for it. There you go. But these 1 in 20s are difficult to find, can be pricey, and it's a subset collection, so it's could be pricey, could be tough. But if you want it, there you go. This could have fit in the new #1 section, but considering the subject matter of all the covers, I put it here in the cheesecake side of things, but still gave you that new #1 vibe. This is Lilith at a vault. So Lilith is immortal who's been banished from her home. Dimensional planes especially similar. All right, you get it. Lilith, hell, demons. You're going to have a lot of cheesecake sexy type covers here. So here's one, her jumping out of a book. We've got a couple others here with her nearly riding a skull. Then there we got a Jay Lee in the middle. And we've got an anime kind of vibe over there on the side, which kind of reminds me of the demons from Scott Pilgrim. Remember when the first Evil X showed up and there was all the little flying fire demons? Kind of reminds me of one of those. Then there are 2 black bag covers that I do not know what the art is. I looked, couldn't find it yet. But there will be 2 adults only black bagged insert covers. So there'll be naughty covers that you'll have to open the bag to see what's underneath. And remove that insert. I like how they do that. I like how they're bagged and they have that insert so they can display them on the shelves and not be inappropriate for all age collectors. So I like that practice. That's a new innovation in the last few years like with those money shot covers and the sex criminals did it way before that. All that stuff. Good on you guys for thinking of that. We have incentives. We have a 1 in 5 and we have a 1 in 10. I think it's a Tulalote on the 1 in 10. There is a virgin version of that, which is the 1 in 15. And then there is also a 1 in 25, which is a black and white of the J. Lee. And then we go and recolor the J. Lee, and we have our 1 in 50. Whew. Vault's doing a dynamite here. We're getting a lot of the same covers with a lot of different looks. Just saying. Dig in, pick up whatever one floats your boat. But outside of that, let's just get into our last one, I think, of this segment, which is Witchblade. So Witchblade number 3 is coming out with a cover A and a pretty nice cover B. I think it's David Mack style over there. And there is a 1 in 25 incentive on this book. But that had to go to our next segment. That's right.
WTF, Gary? WTF. What the fuck does WTF mean? What the fuck? Oh.
WTF. WTF. Why? Before you get started, look. Cool cover. I dig it. I love the Silvestri homaging himself, doing the Uncanny X-Men, cover with the X, but this is Witchblade on the W. I get it. It's cool. Especially with the renewed interest in the Uncanny X-Men. What was it, 251? I don't remember the number. Because of Deadpool. Because of the scene in Deadpool. I get it. The renewed interest, understand it completely. But, this is not new. We've seen this already. I do not like reused cover art. It cheapens the original. What am I talking about? Well, this 1 in 25 is the exact same cover that Silvestri already used on Witchblade 170 way back in the day. It's not even updated. It's recolored. They kind of zoomed in a little bit, but it's the same art. It's not even redone. I don't like reused cover art in that way. It, like I said, it cheapens the original, and I dig the original issue 170. But here you go. You got a 1 in 25 that's now doing decent business because of, like I said, all the little tie-ins and whatnot. So we've got early pre-sales, 45, 55, 60 bucks. We got the same sort of asking prices, looking for $55, $60, up to $100 for this 1 in 25 variant for this cover art that you can also have by buying the original. So I decided, even though it's not a new release, just to show you your alternative. You can buy the original 170 because that only runs $15 to $30 at most. Mostly in the $15 range, as you can see by those recent sales and the current asking prices looking for $15 and $30. So you make your own decision. If you're buying it just for the cover art, here's your other option. You can still get the original. That's all. I just don't like, again, the double dipping. It's cheap. I don't like it. I don't like it. But with that said, our final segment, normally it's cheesecake, but because I had that WTF in there, I had to palate cleanse. I didn't want to leave you on that sour note. So let's get into our final segment of incentives before we wrap up for today. Starting off with a 1 in 10 Sonic. So yeah, last month got a little bit of heat because of the Sonic trailer, kind of bumped up issue 72. Here we got issue 73. Looks like we're moving on. We might find out who the Phantom Rider is, but maybe not. We'll see. But a 1 in 10 is out there. Again, it's kind of doing the same thing. It's barely over ratio, but there's a $10 sale. There's also a $20 and $25 sale, which is when we get to double ratio, it starts getting my attention. And then asking prices, mostly looking for double, 18 to 20 bucks. So we'll see, again, what happens with this one, as the week goes on, but it's worth paying attention to. Epitaphs of the Abyss has a 3rd issue coming out. I thought about putting in the reading segment or just got to do it, but I don't know if I'm going to continue, but I do like the 1 in 10s here. I do like the old Harvey look, but this is an homage, as we can see here, Tales from the Crypt 39. Why does this look familiar? Because we also have already seen this just all of 3 weeks ago on Wolverine Revenge. This is what I'm talking about. I am a fan of homage covers. I like them, but don't like seeing them released on top of each other. It's just tiresome. So it's like, So this one is now undercut by the fact that I just saw it 3 weeks ago. But it is what it is. Star Wars. Yes, this is one of the open order variants for Star Wars. Darth Vader number 50, Princess Leia cover. There is the 1 in 100 version of this cover, which is why we have it here. So, boom, there you go. Sorry, the transition wasn't the one that I wanted, but it is what it is. Pre-sales, something to pay attention to. $150, $160. Asking prices looking for $160 to $200. Who knows what will happen as the week goes on? It is a Star Wars book. Some of these hit, some of these miss. We'll see what happens here, just like all the other ones. And just for fun, there is a 1 in 25 that has a pretty cool John Jiang cover. So I just like this cover. Again, you can find this for ratio or less. I mean, there's a couple sales for over ratio, but by and large, you can find this for $25 and less. But it is a pretty cool Vader cover if you're interested. So I thought I would just show it because sometimes I just like showing covers. And then we do have the second installment of Spider-Man Black Suit and Blood. I kind of like this negative space. I mean, it's not really, I mean, it is negative space, but it isn't because of the red, but it's kind of cool looking. It's kind of striking. It kind of pops with the red. This is an open order variant, but there is a virgin 1 in 100 of it here. So that's the one we're looking at. And while there are no pre-sales to speak of as of yet, there is only one listed. And they're looking for a healthy $263 on this 1 in 100. So, once again, just something to watch. Something to watch. And if this one's out of your price range or you don't like buying 1 in 100s, there's a pretty solid 1 in 25 here, too. This is Diwali. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I kind of dig this. It's just simple, but cool. And again, ratio or less if you want to go and shell out that kind of money. And with that, that is all I have for you this week. So, yeah, thanks. Thanks for stopping by and thanks for all the support. Make sure you check out all the links I mentioned down below for you first-time Whatnot users. Anybody who needs to order some supplies, use the BCW code below and use that link and get yourself a discount. And with that all said, get ready for Baltimore. So I'll do my best to keep the content coming over the next week or two, but it could be sporadic. It could be late. We'll see what happens. But if you will be at Baltimore Comic-Con, come look us up. Table H28. All right.